Welcome back to the show. What are we going to see? A bull run or a super cycle? We got stuff for you to look at. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.62 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off 6.5%. Bitcoin now dipping below 100,000 at 99,900 plus, 3,500 plus for Ethereum. Tether back at the number 3 spot, 140 billion plus market cap. Number 4 spot's XRP at $2.31. We're off 5.7 on the 24 and off 4.7 on the 7-day. We'll keep an eye on it. Ranging price between 218 and 251. Now sitting at 231. We'll keep an eye on it. Let's get started. And before we start, I want to remind you, I Trust Capital, the best gold, crypto, silver IRAs on the planet. If you don't believe me, click the link underneath this video and find out for yourself, because it is a remarkable, empowering opportunity. Yes, that's right. You can get a Roth IRA and have zero tax on your crypto. And by the way, have complete control of every asset inside of that IRA. Buy, sell, move it around, move in and out of it. You have so much power on iTrust platform. If you don't believe me, click that link below and get started. Let's get into this. Breaking: Federal Reserve cuts interest rates by 25 basis points. Well, this is just another cut to go with the others we've already seen. That's how bad things are, right? And then here we see this. This is great news right here. The one and only Tyler Boone from TI Projects has just joined the world's largest XRP conference. Ladies and gentlemen, things are heating up. If you haven't got your tickets, MoonPay just announced the other day. We broke that news. Uphold. Simon McLaughlin, the CEO from Uphold, just told us in an interview he's coming, going to be on stage. I tell you, with the launch of the real USD, you have no idea the kind of conversations that are coming. ETFs too, by the way. Everything is coming our way. Get your ticket. You are going, I'm telling you, that I just cannot stress to you enough the kind of information that you are going to learn at this conference while you're having the time of your life is bar none, I tell you, to anything else that I've ever experienced. Please get your ticket before they're sold out. Breaking right here. This is a conversation with Good Morning Crypto Crew and Mark Yusko about the real USD and XRP. I won't play this whole thing, but listen to the first part here.
So what I was getting at is that I think there's going to be better solutions that come to fruition, whether they already exist right now or in the future. And it's not like it's going to attack Bitcoin's market share or even divert Bitcoin from the course that it's on, which is becoming this global store of wealth, a digital gold held by central banks and governments. But what I'm seeing with the XRP topic in particular, because our listeners are interested in your thoughts on this, is that what I was getting at with the stablecoin is it's actually the first tokenized asset ever on the XRP ledger. And so what's exciting about that is because it opens the door for other tokenized derivatives like stocks and bonds and treasuries and ownership rights. And so my question to you is, if XRP or any blockchain, for example, becomes the base layer for tokenized assets, because I do think there's better products than Bitcoin for tokenizing products, just from cheaper, faster, better perspective, but it doesn't have that first mover advantage. So my thoughts, or my question to you is, if we end up in a situation where hypothetically the XRP ledger is tokenizing assets and keeping that value on chain and actually earning a yield there or lending it there, doing whatever you'd like to do, then do you think that could create a situation where now we have a same thing that Bitcoin had, which is there's a reason to own this underlying asset, and by betting on this underlying asset, you're actually betting on tokenized assets in the future? What do you think about that?
For sure. It's great summary, and exactly the direction that the technology is moving. And, you know, history is always written by the winners, right? So we'll know in a few years, you know, how it all played out.
Yes, we will. And I tell you, this is exactly where things are going with the real USD. And this is a first real world asset being tokenized on the XRP ledger. This is a digital dollar. And Brad Garlinghouse has made it very clear that if the peg were to ever slip on the real USD, that they have the kind of backing, that liquidity that's needed to underpin that digital dollar. And I bet that that liquidity is XRP. And I believe that is the ultimate goal, to really reach a place where XRP can actually back the actual dollar for the entire US government and not just their own real USD stablecoin. Great news here from Temos, which is a Ripple partner. Banks can now launch digital asset services within days following the integration of Taurus to make it happen. Look, this is super exciting to me, and this announcement came along with AHAM Capital, which has selected Temenos for the multi-funds and global accounting delivered at SaaS to drive scalable automation and future growth in the Malaysian market. So this is heavily focused in the Malaysian market, but Temenos is a Ripple partner, and they do have XRP Ledger in their tech stack. We have shown it tons, but we have a lot to go over. We have another half of this interview with eToro to catch up on with Brad Garlinghouse, and every bit of it is fire. And shout out to Yanni Asia, the CEO of eToro, who says some pretty fire stuff to go along with it. In fact, I'm going to bring us in the first part of that right about here, actually. Let's listen to Yanni talk about the market, the way he sees it, and possibly a super cycle this time around.
Yanni, XRP's been on eToro since, what is it, 2017? I mean, it's been a very heavily, invested in asset.
It's been an amazing journey seeing XRP on the platform since, I think it was June 2017, launching at 20 cents a dollar. Seeing it at the first crypto rally, the second crypto rally, now the third crypto rally, actually the fourth, but the first one was only Bitcoin. And I think we're one of the largest brokers offering XRP from an early stage. We have a huge, hundreds of thousands of customers who have owned XRP for a while, invested early on, and very big believers in XRP. There's no doubt that the challenge of remittance, of cross-border payments is a significant challenge that I think is very clear to people within the blockchain industry and the crypto industry. So it's sort of very clear that it's an inevitable future for the future to be supported by new technologies that support real-time payments. And it's super exciting now to see how both the price of XRP, but also the enthusiasm across the XRP community and not the entire crypto community has come sort of full circle to another great super cycle.
Another great super cycle is what he's saying. Well, I love that. Again, all these clips are not from the first video this morning. Let me bring you in here, just a little further up here. Right here. Take a listen to this about the bull market.
There's no doubt that we are in a bull crypto market. There's no doubt we see enthusiasm coming back to the markets, from Bitcoin crossing 100,000 to altcoin season, and XRP now I think at almost $2.50. So no doubt we're in a bull market, and we hope every bull market since 13, 17, 2021, and now coming into 2025, we've seen sort of a longer bull markets, a bit more stable, still extremely volatile, but a bit more stable. But it's super interesting. And I have to say, like, following on Brad, I was one of the people that were a bit skeptical about the impact of ETFs coming from sort of a more sort of hardcore Bitcoin point of view, that people should be like your own keys, your coins, and self-custody.
But he's come to realize, just to save time here, he's come to realize, we have so much to go over, that introducing ETFs is bringing an enormous side of the traditional markets in to get exposure to these assets through ETFs. It is a combination made for the ages. And I believe a first real step of getting that blend of legacy financial system and clients and customers into this new asset class. We make no mistake, we are witnessing the birth of a new asset class. Now let's move to the next part here that I want to play for you, which is at 15:20 or so here, right here. Let's play this from Brad Garlinghouse. This will be on the first decentralized exchange, which is built into the XRP ledger, and bank strategy.
And I think that for XRP, this is even more important than potentially for Bitcoin. And we'd love, Brad, for you to talk a bit about sort of the strategy with banks, right? Because the strategy or my view of XRP was always, this is creating sort of a blockchain for banks to onboard the existing financial institutions into an infrastructure that's efficient as blockchain, but enables them to sort of transfer assets or between their customers, all of the fiat assets or other assets on a blockchain. So from that point of view, regulation and institutionalization is even more important.
Yeah. Look, I think there's no doubt Ripple has always viewed ourselves to some degree, and consistent with what Yoni described, as kind of a bridge between traditional finance and decentralized finance. And, said another way, it's like, okay, here's the legacy infrastructure with a new infrastructure. There needs, in our judgment, to be bridges between those. Some in crypto, I think early on, were really much, hey, there's going to be a separate, distinct, and it's going to be independent, and there's going to be, the one's going to win over time. And it's like, you're going to have a blended infrastructure for, I think, a very long time. And Ripple's really tried to enable that, as Yoni described, in working with financial institutions, enabling them to use these technologies. But really, if you go back in time, the XRPL, the XRP ledger was all about tokenizing and enabling the transfer of any type of assets. It was the first decentralized exchange DEX that was, available. And, we find ourselves, I think, and part of the excitement about what's going on in XRP right now is without the headwinds of the SEC, some of those tools and capabilities that have always been there are now unlocked in a way that, we don't have the headwinds of the SEC, fighting with us about it. And I think particularly around some of the tokenization of other assets and leverage of a DEX, it really plays into where the world is today and where the world's heading.
No doubt. And I love that he brought up the XRP Ledger decentralized exchange plays into where we are now and where the world is headed. Absolutely loving that from him. And then we have this here, by the way, right here, where he talks about liquidity and how important it is.
We want to be the most effective and impactful participant in the XRP ecosystem. We are one very large player in the ecosystem, but one measure of that is how much liquidity is there, because the more liquidity there is on more exchanges, the more useful the overall XRP ecosystem is for every individual participant. So certainly eToro, and again, I've known Yoni for a bunch of years, and their support of and advocacy around XRP has been important for sure. We're fortunate. I think XRP is listed around 600 or 700 exchanges around the world now. And, we work within our products, as your kind of questions about, we work with some exchanges around the world to actually enable the enterprise onboarding, offboarding, and kind of what some people call the last mile, the ability to intersect with that traditional financial infrastructure remains important. And certainly the eToros of the world and driving liquidity and frankly, just helping educate, like events like this, helping educate people who are interested in the ecosystem about what's going on, I think is very valuable. We need more kind of top tier exchanges like eToro out there.
There you have it. Now let's keep moving here. I'm going to bring you to the next place where he talks about being CEO. And has anything changed in his mission? Well, let me tell you, the answer is no. If anything, he's more emboldened in his mission as a CEO to make a dent in the universe, along with others at the company.
leading, a company in such a dynamic industry.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm sure you've gotten lots of interesting answers about this. I think the thing to always remind entrepreneurs is, when you're successful, the highs are higher. When you're feeling not successful, the lows are lower. As I think many of the leaders you probably on here have told you, it's not always all glorious and fun. And, some of the battles are public and well known. The United States SEC sued Ripple. They sued me. They sued Chris Larson. And that's not fun. But being committed to a point of view about where the world's going and having the wherewithal to kind of stand up to that was a very public example of the plight of being a CEO. There's a whole lot of other challenges, and I'm sure Yoni experiences these that aren't in the headlines. But look, I think I feel very fortunate to be in a position where Ripple can have an impact, and when I joined the company, I said that I think, many people want to put their dent in the universe. And I think I feel that way. And I think many of Ripple's employees feel that way. They want to put their dent in the universe. And I think if we continue to evangelize and successfully deploy Ripple's technologies, we're putting that dent in the universe. And I feel that way about the crypto market overall. Yoni in the past, he and I have talked about, I think, the negative side of kind of tribalism within crypto. And, I other than the scamsters who are just, pieces of shit that we need to get rid of, I'm very pro crypto, and there will be multiple chains, and that will be successful for different use cases, I think. And I want to see a lot of them succeed. And look, I hope Ripple has helped pave some of that road, particularly from a regulatory perspective, to help others along the way.
There's no question that they've done that for sure. Now let's go to the next spot here. Again, this whole thing was incredible, but I'm just trying to give you the top highlights here out of it. Let's bring it in here where he talks about the handcuffs have come off since the election has happened here in the United States. The headwinds for crypto have turned into tailwinds. One second.
Yeah, it feels like that. Brad, let's talk about XRP. I mean, we're half the way through the last month of the year, and it's had an incredible year price-wise. There's no denying that. I mean, some you would say is probably down to the US election result. Others potentially due to the court ruling on XRP not being a security. How does this sort of shape Ripple's future strategy and, using XRP in its products?
Well, I suppose, as I was saying a moment ago, it doesn't change it a lot. We take a long-term view and always have taken that long-term view. And so certainly we're very happy to see the evolution. I think, and Yoni will remember this, prior to the United States SEC getting involved in the crypto market, so this is back in kind of 2018, XRP was the second most valuable digital asset.
Yeah.
Then the SEC starts getting involved and kind of picking winners and picking losers. And, now we're on the other side of that. I think we're largely on the other side of that. The new administration hasn't come in, but, Paul Atkins, the new chair of the SEC, coupled with Scott Bessent, who's the U.S. Treasury Secretary in the Trump administration, I think you really do kind of have, and David Sachs as the effective crypto, he's doing AI and crypto, but these are all, very smart people, very pro crypto kind of advocacy. And so I think it just totally resets to and reminds people like, hey, back before all this was going on, there are some really core attributes of XRP as a digital asset and its use case and why people were excited about it. And again, it gets back to some of the scalability, the cost per transaction. And I think now that we're on the other side of that, you're going to see more developers come into the XRP ecosystem, and the people who are nervous about getting involved or even nervous about listing XRP. I think,
Look, just to cut in here for a second, I think he makes so many great points here. I have said this over and over and over again. There have been influencers within this space and community that have tried to convince all of us that it needs more people running nodes. It needs more people building onto this protocol. And the reality is, love all of that. But the truth is that I have said over and over and over, that's not going to come in mass until we get the suppression from the government agencies and the government itself off of this technology, and more specifically off of Ripple and XRP Ledger. And that is exactly what we're seeing now. When we see the election happen, the price has gone crazy. The market is responding because why? Because now we're getting our first crypto president. Now we're getting our first crypto treasurer. Now we're getting our first pro-crypto SEC chair. All of it is happening now. A new crypto AI czar, right? So this administration is preparing to embrace this technology and innovation, and how exciting it truly is. Now, let's keep moving here, because there's another spot here coming up very quickly where Brad Garlinghouse talks about the difference between the speculative market and utility. And think of this now, because now we're getting ready to move into a new area where that utility is going to speak for the first time, being driven by the institutions, the financial players, the ones that really need it in their business model every day. This kind of utility has not been seen at a deep level like we're going to see it, I believe, especially once we get legislation, this case ends, and we start to see the real adoption without anyone being inhibited, because they all know exactly how they can use it and what the rules are to do so. Take a quick listen.
Getting your phone out throughout the day and checking the price of XRP, or you're not like that?
I'm not much like that. I mean, I suppose when it was going through its, kind of really rapid rally, I was checking it, when I'd wake up in the morning. But, I really actually genuinely do take a long view. And if we take that long view, I'm very optimistic, and we execute well, and others in the XRPL ecosystem build other compelling projects and really transitioning from just speculation to utility, that the rest of it will sort itself out in a really positive way, I think.
Thanks, Brad. And Yoni, I mean, Brad actually just mentioned there about the new sort of administration under Trump and how it seems quite positive at the moment.
And it really is. But let's get to a fun moment now. I want to bring you in here very quickly at this moment where they talk about the 60-minute interview, and Brad addresses the way 60 Minutes edited, left things out, or set him up in a way to put things in to make it look more contrarian and more negative than it actually should have been. Shame on 60 Minutes, but kudos to Brad, who always stays classy. Take a listen.
Let's go Europe and let's go UK. That's what I say. Last couple of questions, Brad, will come to you. You recently had an appearance on 60 Minutes. How do you think the mainstream media coverage affects the public perception of Ripple, of XRP as well, and the broader crypto industry as a whole?
Well, anytime I think we're educating a broader audience and bringing more people into the crypto community, that's a good thing. So I'm happy about that. I mean, not surprisingly, I thought the 60-minute segment had some, inherent skepticism in the approach. John Reed Stark, who was kind of if I was the protagonist, he was the antagonist. It's always frustrating when you're not on a live something like this, where you can edit something that's not exactly what I said, or they leave things out. You're like, that's really important. John Reed Stark said something to the effect of, the SEC, the judges have always agreed with the SEC, and that these are all securities. And you're like, whoa,
yeah, hold on.
That's not true. That is definitely not true. And you don't get the chance to say that if I said something Yoni disagreed with, he could say, oh, wait, Brad, that's not right, and vice versa. But look, as I said, I'm glad we participated. We went in with our eyes wide open. There are a bunch of things that I would have probably done a little bit differently in how it was covered. But again, I don't regret that. And I think that educating a larger audience about crypto is a win for the whole industry.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll be much nicer in our editing, Brad.
He said, we'll be much nicer to you in our editing, Brad. Oh, kudos to them. You can tell they have a great relationship. It's so nice to see it in this space. Take a listen to what Brad says here as a final thought, where he's looking towards the end of the year or into the next year, and he's very excited for next year in 25, and talks about the skeptics and to do your research.
Out there, what would you say? How would you get them on board with XRP, with Ripple, and all of the above?
Like the reason why I do events like this is to provide transparency, education, and clarity. And I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. Do your research. I think that the XRP ledger and XRP as a digital asset stands on its own ground. And I think Ripple's business has been thriving for a whole bunch of reasons, in part because, we are using, I think, for our purpose, the most efficient, digital asset. And I think I'm very excited about the year ahead. I remind people that, for better or for worse, XRP was picked on by the U.S. government, and it survived that onslaught, and in some ways brought a community of passionate people together even more. And I think we'll see a lot of growth in developer activity, in frankly Ripple's payment volume and customers. So I'm very optimistic about what's ahead, and I appreciate you all inviting me on today.
Bring it on, Brad.
No doubt about it. And what a great interview it was. And there's the insights of late from Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple. Look at this right here very quickly. Egg Rag Crypto, which I don't mind telling you, just got a follow from Elon Musk. I told you this guy was the real deal. How many times I got to tell you? Elon's following his ass. I love keeping arrows on my charts, and we love that you do it too. He says it allows me to revisit them after a few months and see which patterns played out perfectly. Right now, I can confidently say the green pattern aligns best with my predicted movement. So the green line is where this retest is here, right? And the green line is this wave here showing this target down here. Now you can see what he's showing here is he's showing this market cap for Bitcoin dominance. So just don't get it twisted. This is a Bitcoin dominance chart here. He says if Bitcoin dominance faces a strong rejection from 0.382 to 0.236, the next stop will be macro Fibonacci level of 0.786. This will signal the end of the Bitcoin bull cycle, and soon the news will be flooded with altcoins pumping left and right. He says, but don't worry, the signs will be there. So this is really what he's saying. We'll watch to see if that dominance starts to fall over, whether it falls this way quickly, a little slower, or a little longer to it. We'll keep an eye on it to see which way it goes. But nonetheless, when Bitcoin dominance usually cools off, that is, in fact, when we normally see the alt season go crazy. And speaking of which, Armando Pantoja here says XRP haters don't realize that before the SEC lawsuit, XRP held 37.4% of Bitcoin's market cap, putting XRP at $12.80 today. Its natural price. With the lawsuit ending plus a crypto-friendly administration incoming, XRP will rapidly return to $12.80. From there, $20 doesn't seem too far off. What an excellent point. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'm sorry this one got a little long, but there was great stuff we had to cover, and I wanted to keep it in one video. I hope you hit the like and subscribe, share it with somebody you know. Make sure you remember it's not financial advice from me or anyone else, and you could always join us in the Freedom Zone for extra content. Go to digitalperspectives.com, click the Freedom Zone, and come on in. I'll catch all of you on the next one.